A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. And boy, is this one a fucking doozy. So cheers to that. I think this is a fitting beverage for what I'm about to talk about. Bret Easton Ellis's first novel, Less Than Zero. This was published in 1985, so reading it today, a lot of the references might be very dated. I'm not sure if someone who wasn't familiar with that era will enjoy this, but Bret Easton Ellis, of course, one of the first rock star authors. He went on to write The Rules of Attraction, American Psycho, the sequel to Less Than Zero, Imperial Bedrooms. One of my favorite authors of all time. I absolutely love his work, but I will admit it is not for everybody. So what is Less Than Zero about? It's about rich, apathetic, late teen, 20-somethings who basically do drugs, have sex, and do a whole lot of shit way too young. And as such, their outlook on life is heavily, heavily skewed. So I'm going to try and, you know what? This book's famous. There's a movie, there was a movie that came out in 1987 starring Andrew McCarthy, James Spader, and Robert Downey Jr. So, you know, if you don't want to read the book, go watch the movie. But yeah, I'm just going to go straight into the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. 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 People.
So the novel is told from the point of view of Clay. Clay is from a wealthy family whose parents are separated. He has two sisters, and he's recently come back from New Hampshire to LA to spend his winter vacation because it's kind of hot in LA around this time, one would assume. So he catches up with his friends. He's brought someone back with him, this guy called David. But he catches up with a former girlfriend, Blair, his friend, Julian, and another friend, Trent. But there are characters that come and go all through this book. Clay is a completely apathetic character. There are a lot of stream of conscious things in this book, but they don't really reveal much about him or about his feelings, or about his emotions, or anything like this. It's basically just Clay going through the motions until he has to go back to university in New Hampshire. And because it's just Clay going through the motions, we feel that everyone in this book is kind of detached from reality to a certain extent. Now, all of his friends come from wealth. Like, this is the Beverly Hills crowd. They have access to hard drugs. We get this plot running through of his friend Julian needing money and going missing. So between him and Blair trying to reconnect with him and him not really reciprocating, there is instances of underage sex, sort of. But towards the end of the book, it gets really fucking disturbing. Like kidnap and rape, male prostitution. There's a possible snuff film being viewed at one of the parties. There is this idea that these rich Hollywood executives and producers and whatnot don't have a fucking clue what is going on with the rest of the world. There is one scene in particular that I thought was very telling. Blair's father is a producer, and he's producing a science fiction film called Star Raiders, and they're trying to get a leading man, and he asks his daughter in the middle of a party, and his daughter is like, Adamant or Sting? And they talk about how Sting would be great for this science fiction film, which I thought was particularly funny because Sting starred in David Lynch's Dune as the Harkonnen guy. Ultimately, Blair tries to get Clay back. She asks him, did you ever love me? He says, no, it's just easier not to love anything. And then he gets in his car at the end and drives away. And that's pretty much it. It reminded me a lot of Catcher in the Rye, in as much as the main character himself, just for a lot of the book, he's just not there. He's just narrating stuff as it happens, but we don't get how he feels about it. We don't get how it impacts him. We don't get anything like that in this book. It's a very jarring style of writing that Bret Easton Ellis is famous for, which I really enjoyed. But it is not for everyone. I will tell you that now. There is a lot of descriptions of drug use, not just weed, but cocaine and heroin, quaaludes, things like that. A lot of alcohol. It's basically party after party after party. They go to nightclubs, things like that. And yeah, it's a quick read, just because of Bret Easton Ellis' writing style, much quicker than, say, American Psycho. But ultimately, you're either going to love Lesson Zero or you're going to hate Lesson Zero. There's not going to be an in-between. So I'm just gonna warn you now. I loved it. I think it's a fantastic book. I think the sequel, Imperial Bedrooms, is better, but you'll find out why when I review that. So that is Bret Easton Ellis, Lesson Zero. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, have a drink, don't do drugs. But most importantly, stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Please read or listen to a fucking book, people.